G'day guys, how's it going? Welcome to another Tuesday night in the man cave. You'll notice that I've changed the bikes up this week. So now I've got Harry, the Suzuki Boulevard, sitting in there, and I've jazzed him up with the whole Top Gear bloody theme. So what we're doing this week is we're doing a review, and I've been testing this. This is the Cedar Summit Comfort Plus regular tapered mat. Geez, that's a bloody mouthful, isn't it? Basically, here's the box. You can see that there. Hopefully you can see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you about it, and you can see plenty of this stuff on YouTube, but I've got the Helinox Cot One, which is bloody fantastic sleeping cot, stretcher, bloody whatever you want. I want to do a bit of a comparison. I've got some stuff written up here. I've also got some old the self-inflating sleeping mats that I used to use. I've got a quarter, I've got the long. So what I'm going to do is just run through them all a little bit, not too much. The main thing is going to be on this one, but just as a comparison for some of you guys that haven't bloody, looked at them or used them or whatever. I've ran through bloody most of the stuff, so I thought give you a quick view of it. If you wanted to do have a bit more of a look of the Helinox, I've got a video which I'll put a link to in the bottom of this one. But anyway, let's get into that. Alright guys, so the first thing I've got to run through is why the hell am I buying this when the Helinox is so fantastic? Well, when when Alistair and I did that Wipperfeld sand riding thing, and if you've seen that video, it was just bloody hard going. We had all the bikes loaded up with all the bloody gear and tents and whatever, trying to bloody ride through thick sand. So at the end of that, I thought, Jesus Christ, I still have to try and keep getting more weight off this bloody bike. And I've been doing this for quite a while, going through bits and pieces and doing that. Anyway, on that trip, Alistair had actually bought one of these. Now what he bought was exactly the same as this, except it was a large, so it was longer than what this one is, and it was actually a square shape, not the tapered as you'll see. Now he's a big bloke. You don't want to meet him in a bloody in a dark alley. And what he used to use was the mattress out of his swag, plus a self-inflating, the dog's going crazy again, plus a self-inflating mattress on top of that. And what he would find during the night, he'd start getting sore points, even with that amount of mattress under him. Anyway, so he bought this for one of these for this trip, and the first night in the morning, we woke up and he said he couldn't believe that he didn't get any sore points out of it. So with Alistair saying that, and being his size, such a solid bloke, I thought, shit, I've got to give it a bloody try, because as I'll show you, the size compacting down and the weight of this is a hell of a lot bloody less than that Helinox. Alright, we're going to go out and I'll go and grab all the Helinox and the other self-inflating mattresses, and then we'll get into that too. Alright. I'll just actually quickly show you. So I've put up the Cedar Summit Comfort Plus, the Cot One, and then the self-inflating mattress. That I'm going to use as just an average, because there's just so many different types out there. So what we'll do is we'll have the different weights. Obviously I've already got the prices in there. I've actually put down here the weights for the world, and here I'll have the weights for you bloody American blokes. Always a pain in my ass having to bloody do that, but I'm going to do it for you anyway. Alright, let's go out here. Poor old Max is relegated out into here. Alright, we'll get these mattresses. Alright, so we want one Helinox, standard long self-inflating, and we've got the quarter. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to do is the two self-inflating mattresses. So that's the quarter length and that's the full length. So you can kind of like see that they're pretty much identical. Oh Jesus! Just this one's a little bit fatter than that one. This is about 400 grams, just under 400 grams lighter than this one. But I'll just pull them out, just show it to it, then I'm going to throw this one out of the mix. So there you go guys, that's the two mats there, and as you can see if I come back, hopefully you can see one's a 3/4 and one's a bloody full one. So this is the one that we're going to go with. This one here gets thrown out so that we're going to be comparing apples with apples and not oranges. Cool. All right, better tell you what else is coming up in this video. I'm going to do a quick recap on those off-road mirrors. There was something very important that I bloody left out of that because I'm an idiot. I'll let you know what we're doing next week as a product bloody review. I want to do a quick shout out to the Scrapheap Challenge, which is an event that's happening, which I'll let you know what that's all about. I'll let you know what we're doing next week and like the product review, and also I've got a what do you think, I've got a bloody idea to maybe add into this Tuesday night thing, so I'll talk to you about that. And anyway, let's get back to that other thing. Alright guys, so this is basically the Helinox, the Self-Inflating and the Cedar Summit Comfort Plus, which is not self-inflating. This is actually one that you blow up, which we'll get into. So as you can see, the Helinox and the Self-Inflating mattress, they're both pretty much the same size. We've got 22 inches or 56 centimeters. That's pretty much the same as that. This one here is a little bit not as round like that one. This one here is 25 centimeters or 10 inches. The thing with this one is that it's a lot more squishy. Cool, alright, let's get them weighed. Alright, so we're going to weigh these. I've got a little precise weighing machine here. I'm using that on there and I've set it all so that I can put that up there and it's not going to interfere. Nace has brought out a cup of tea, which is going to be great because she's going to write down the weights as I call them out. Cool, and then we'll convert them out for you American bastards. Alright, so we're doing the Cedar Summit Comfort Plus. First, whacking that on there, 833 grams. We'll do the Helinox, that's 2 kilograms, so 2.213. So 2 kilograms, 213 grams. God, I'm hopeless. Did you get that?
2.2?
2.2, yeah. And the Self-Inflating mattress, that's 1.2 kilograms. Yeah, that sounded right, 1.2 kilograms. Cool, now we're going to convert it out for the American guys. Alright, well there you go guys. So the Cedar Summit, weight-wise, is by far the lightest, and in the packed up sense, easily the smallest of those three. Now what I'm going to do now is actually this self-inflating mattress, most of you guys would have bloody seen them. I don't need to explain anything more about these. They are the cheaper option. 70 bucks is average. You can get some 50 bucks or you can pay bloody $150. It just depends on what brand, and there's a whole heap, but they've been around for ages, so you guys should know all about those. Now it's not the lightest and it's certainly not the smallest, so and this is all about trying to get something that's really light, really small, to get it on the motorbike when you're doing that hard stuff. So this one we're just going to throw out of the mix as well. Okay, don't throw your mat into the dog's water. Alright, so I suppose we should talk about the money. Obviously the Helinox cot is costs an absolute bloody fortune. The Cedar Summit's still a lot of money at 214 bucks. That was at snowies.com.au. I know Wild Earth had it as well. I bought mine from snowies.com.au. And I just checked before, and they're still $214.90, which is the cheapest that I could find it. The Helinox, you can only get Helinox from helinox.com.au, or obviously if you're in America or another country, they actually have so America would be helinox.com. And the self-inflating mattresses, they're just bloody everywhere. Now, the self-inflating mattress, it's a good thing, but when you lie on it and you get your hips and bits and pieces will actually hit the ground, so they're not as comfortable as these. And at 70 bucks, they shouldn't be bloody as comfortable as these things. All right, let's get in, and I'll finally now bloody show you what I believe makes the bloody Cedar Summit amazing. Alright guys, so here it is. This is it. Pull the bloody bag off. I just roll her out. So that's it. So that's the top part, that's where your head goes. And then as you go down, as you can see, it tapers in. Right down to the feet. Hopefully you can see that. So yeah, this is the regular size and tapered. Now, as I said, it's a blow up, it's not self-inflating. There's two sides, so you blow up this side and then you blow up the other side. Now I don't think it doesn't say a front or a back or anything, it doesn't matter which way you lie on it. The only difference is that this says Cedar Summit Custom Plus on that side. So I call that the back side and that side's the front side. I don't think there's any bloody difference. So the idea, I think, why they have it so that it's two sides, they're separate, is that if you do happen to get a puncture in it, you don't end up being on the ground for the rest of the night. You've still got air in there. It does come with a puncher so that you can fix it. And I read a guy that did a review, and he's like a what do you call it, a cliff climber or whatever. He actually stepped on his with his boot, and he got a puncher. Now he did say that he had a sharp rock that was in his tread, and that's what punctured it. He used that the puncher kit, fixed it, no worries at all. So there you go. Now what I'll do is I'll come down and get you down closer just to explain how these little holes bloody things work. They're awesome. Alright guys, if you can hear some snorting and bloody grunting, it's the dog being stupid with its bloody bed. Now the way these things work, there's two bits to it. There's that bit and then there's that bit there. So when you want to pump it up, you just take this top one off and you blow in through there. So it's got a little valve thing there, so that when you blow it in and then you take your mouth off it, the air doesn't come back out. So that worked really, really well. Then you got this second one here, and that just lets all the air just rush straight out of it for when you want to pack it up, and that works really, really good. The other thing is that when you pump this up, the top side, you can actually, by design, it's better to let some air out of it, not have it fully pumped up so that you're actually lying on top of it. You want to lie in it, and that has a little push thing there, so that when you pump it up and then you can push that and just release it out, lie on it, and then you can release a little bit more until you reckon, oh yeah, that feels really good. So this bloody setup that they even actually have on here pending painting or whatever, so it must be something to see to Summit's bloody ridgy-didge thing, which I think is bloody fantastic, works really good. Alright, let's pump it up. Alright guys, so I just pull off that first one and just start blowing in it. So that's one side. There you go, that's it. Pumped up. Takes no bloody time, and I'm not too lightheaded. Alright, cool. So I'll bring you down a little bit closer and I'll show you basically a little bit closer at it and the whole letting the air out and lying in it, not on top of it. Alright, so Pooks is giving it a bit of a test out, aren't you? What do you reckon? Pretty good? There you go, she's got it. Cool. Alright, so here you go guys. So it's quite thick. Now I know when I'm lying on this, I do not at all touch the ground. Oh, where am I? Touch the ground. Yeah, I have to push like with my fingertips. I can now touch the ground, but if I can now touch that there. But when you're lying on it, you just don't. Your hips don't touch or anything like that. So the way this works is that we've got that indent there. On the other side, directly behind that, is actually that bit there. Yeah, so I don't know, it just really seems to work well. Alright guys, so now to lay on this bloody thing. And that's the thing, see, when I do that I can feel the ground with my elbow. and like bumping on there, I can feel it on in my hips. But when you're like that on my side, and when you're on your side, that's normally when you feel the ground through those self-inflating mattresses. But I can't feel that. That's bloody great. Now at this stage, this is pumped up too much because I'm kind of like on it. It works, it's not a problem, but it's a lot more comfortable. We just released that little valve, push it in. Oh, where is it there? So I can feel myself sinking into it a little bit more. Yeah, and that just makes it even a little bit more comfortable. A little bit more. Then you plug that off, and that's it. You're bloody sweet. Sweet Georgia Brown. Alright guys, so I've got Nay out here, and I can't believe it, she's lying on it for me. Here you go. So there you go. I've set up the Helinox, and then I've just put the other one on top of it. So you can see that basically it's the same length. So from lengthwise, and then if we look at Nay, so she fits well and truly on that mat, but then you see the Helinox and you just have so much more, well, a whole heap more bloody room. Cool bananas, thanks for that, sweetie. Alright guys, so what I did was, I slept on the Cedar Summit for 3 nights, and I was just so surprised how comfortable it was. Now what I did was I did it in the lounge room. So for 4 nights I basically slept in the lounge room on these. So 3 nights on the Cedar Summit and 1 night on the Helinox, because after sleeping on the Cedar Summit, why I kind of did it extra times was I was mucking around with pillows. Basically there's a blow up pillow in here. This is something that Alistair also had. After all the testing, I worked out I don't like the blow up. I've had other ones before and I didn't like them, and I've had punches in them and stuff like that. So I've got this, and it worked really well. It had the same valve system, very simple, very light and compact obviously, but just the way my neck is, or my head, or whatever it is, I just don't like it. I have to have a normal pillow. These are Coleman pillows. They're just normal. They compact down a bit, but so I was sleeping with, one night I just had that, the next night I had that, and then the next night after that I had these two. These two work perfect for me, so I'm sticking with what I like, and I'm not worried about that. So obviously the temperature was the same in the lounge room for each night. So basically, from a comfortability point, there is no difference, I don't believe, between the Cedar Summit and the Helinox. Now when I say comfortability, as in feeling the ground through it, you just don't feel it with the Cedar Summit, and you definitely don't feel it with the Helinox. I would think that from a heat point, the Cedar Summit, because it has insulation in it, some technical thing, you'd have to look it up, that I actually got hotter sleeping on the Cedar Summit than I did on the Helinox cot. And that makes sense because obviously there's air underneath there. But I actually have this fleece blanket that we just got some fleece from bloody material place, and they sewed these elastic things on. All I do is I loop that on there, and that really helps with the heat, with the cold, and also if I have some bits and pieces I'll shove it underneath there, and I never have a problem with the cold with the Helinox anyway. But there is a difference that the Cedar Summit does hold the heat better than the Helinox. Now with all that said, the Helinox I felt is a whole lot better. It feels like you're on a bed. It is obviously wider. You can get the wider ones, which is what Alistair's got. So he's got the full rectangle, and I think it's wider and it's longer. So that might have made a difference because I was on the tapered one. So I still felt like I was kind of like on the ground and within a certain area, whereas with the Helinox you're kind of like on there, and it's a bit more like being in your bed, I suppose. So that was the only difference there. But no problems with using this Cedar Summit. I mean, especially if I'm going to be doing the tricky stuff, you know, with sand riding and all that kind of stuff, just to get the weight down. If I'm just going to do something normal, I'm going for a trip or whatever, and I don't really have to worry about having too much weight, I'll definitely still take the Helinox. I've already got it, so I've paid the money for it, so that's why, you know, I'd do it. But now I'm looking at it and I'm going, geez, you know, now looking at the price differences, you know, would have I gone for the Helinox and gone for something like the Cedar Summit? It's all a bit bloody hairy-fairy, and everybody's a little bit different too. There is one thing, I suppose, maybe if you are on under a tarp and not in a tent, and I'll just bring it up, I'll get the dog off, and I'll show you when you've got a sleeping bag on there. Actually, before I show you the sleeping bag on those, so this Cedar Summit range, you can see there's a whole heap of ranges. So there's bloody super lightweight and bloody thin insulate, I don't know, all these bloody things. But see these little, where's my finger, there it is. See these little round things? So you can see that one there has all big ones. Then this one here has big ones and little ones. This one has all little ones. And then obviously the one that I've got is all little ones. So if you've got lots of little air bubbles, it's more comfortable, but it's obviously going to add a little bit more weight to it. So you can see they have big ones down where the feet are, and the little ones are where your main part of your body is, so that would work a lot better. Yeah, so I mean, you just jump online and bloody, you know, put in Cedar Summit Comfort Plus or Cedar Summit bloody thingos, and you'll see, and they explain all the bloody differences and the whole the way that there's the two things and all the bullshit that goes with it, you know what I mean. Alright, let's have a look at this thing. Alright, the dog's not going to be very happy with me. Go on, up you go. So I'll get rid of this out of the way. I'm going to throw that on there. The point I suppose I'm making here is that the sleeping bag is all up off the ground, basically like that. So if you are under a tarp or you're on ground and not in a tent, having that means that your sleeping bag's not going to be kind of like in the dirt and all that kind of stuff. So now what I'll do is I'll swap it around. Bloody dog, look, she just loves jumping on everything. I'll swap this around and then show you what it looks like with the Comfort Plus. So as you can see now, you kind of like, all your sleeping bag is now touching on the ground as such. Now if you're in a tent, that doesn't matter at all. But that was just, I thought was something to mention. You know, some people like just being under a tarp and on the ground or whatever. But if you had the big rectangle one, maybe that would not be a problem. Cool. So there you go, guys. That's the Cedar Summit Comfort Plus regular tapered mat. Awesome bloody, I mean, that's like, you think they can't bloody get any better with stuff, and they just keep bloody making things better. So I reckon that's fantastic. I know Alistair, and he's a big bloke, he thought it was absolutely fantastic. So if you're interested in you know, or looking at getting something, that's definitely something not to go past. Alright guys, so now we'll get into that other stuff that I was talking about. Cool. Actually guys, I suppose you want me to see me bloody taking the air out of it. Undo that one, undo that one. It all pretty much bloody whooshes out. Fold her over. As easy as that, and amazingly, it goes in the bag. There you go. So you can actually you could even have that even tighter and smaller. All right, stop it. Let's go. Alright guys, so I got a comment in regards to the DRC off-road mirrors, and I've got lots of comments, but Hamish Benson, g'day Mark, are these any lighter than the stock DR650 ones? What a bloody great question, and something that I didn't cover. So that's the DRC mirror from last week. That's the stock DR650. There is a big weight difference between the two, and I'll just show you on the scales now. Alright guys, so hopefully you can see that. So that's 443 grams for that one. And for this one, it's only 237. So by changing the two of those for two of these, you're nearly saving half a kilogram. So that's another great reason to run with the DRC bloody mirrors. Cool. Okay guys, I said I wanted to do a shout out to a ride. The ride is actually the Scrapheap Adventure Ride. And it's a charity ride for Down Syndrome New South Wales. I did the ride back in 2013. I took Charlie the postie bike. I rode him from Bendigo all the way up to the back of Burke and then out to the camel farm. And then I had to ride him all the way back. Really good, bloody ride, and when you get out there and everybody's there and they put on meals and all that kind of stuff. Basically, it's you pay $100 registration fee, which goes to Down Syndrome New South Wales, and obviously you can fundraise to get more money, obviously, for the fundraising. This year they're having it. It's the 30th of September to October the 2nd. So it's on a weekend, and basically the whole concept of it is that you buy a bike that's under $1,000, and then you can spend whatever you want on it to do it up and get it roadworthy, or whatever way you want to do it, to then ride it up there. You don't have to do that. You can just, if you've got your own bike that's not, you can actually still register and go up and have the ride, but you're not in the whole scrap heap. They have competitions and all that kind of stuff. They're really good. I really enjoyed it when I did it. So that's happening. It's www.scrapheapadventureride.com. Oh, I don't know. Look, there it is at the bloody bottom. Check it out if you're interested in doing something like that. Really good people, and it's really good seeing all the different types of scrapper bikes that people put together on there. Anyway, cool. All right, guys. So next Tuesday, the product's going to be the Gotcha straps. I've been using these for bloody for years now, and I use them everywhere, bloody all over the friggin' joint, for, you know, whether it's on the bloody bikes or on the Jeep or in the shed. And I've never really done a video in regards to these. I've actually featured them in things, but I've never kind of like showed how they work and how easy they are and all that kind of stuff. So that's what's coming up next Tuesday. The other thing I wanted to, I said that I wanted to ask you guys what you would think. Something to add into these Tuesday night videos is cooking. So basically camp cooking when you're on a motorbike. Different things that I've keep trying all bloody different things, and a lot of the trouble is keeping things as light as possible, and maybe talk about things like the hydrated stuff as opposed to tin stuff, and you know all the differences there. But you know, if you want to have bacon and eggs, can you just take eggs, or do you have to, and like how do you keep the bacon, what alternative uses and all that, instead of the whole, you know, do we just take bloody crunchy nut bars or trail mix, or you know, protein bars and all that kind of stuff. So that's basically when you're actually going out and you're camping out in the bloody never, or where you're not near a pub or a town or whatever, when you're getting out into it. And so stuff that we can take and stuff that we can use and cook really easy and simply, you know, that doesn't take too much bloody work, because normally when we're doing stuff like this, we're not going there for the weekend camping and just staying in the one spot normally. You know, we're always on the go, and you're stuffed after bloody riding and all that kind of stuff. And here I go, see, I'm just rambling away. Tell me what your thoughts are. Do you think it's a good idea to add it in there? What do you reckon? And you know, maybe if we do it, and people can you know, put up their ideas and stuff like that. All right, guys, that's it. I'm out. That's Tuesday night over. Keep on riding. I'll see you next Tuesday.